Hello, welcome to the Curator Podcast. This is episode 37. Hi, hello, welcome once again, dear listener, to the Curator Podcast. I am your host, Mark Fraser, and this is episode number 37. And what can only really be deemed as perhaps a very small miracle, this episode's come out in time, which is a cause for celebration. I think after the last one was out a little bit late, and as I said in my introductory ramble, maybe I should book stuff in advance. Well, I did that, and now I have one which is going to go out in time. So yeah, I hope that this is more satisfactory for you, dear listener. But before I jump into the podcast and before I give you more information on who it is that I'm talking to this week, I was recently asked to be on a podcast and to be interviewed as opposed to be the interviewer. And man, that's a weird thing. I've never been interviewed before outside of a job interview, obviously. So I've never done a podcast interview. So with that in mind, I went down and did the interview. And you know what? It was a lot of fun. I did enjoy it. I mean, sometimes I did slip into being the interviewer, just asking questions. But I think that's because I'm more of a naturally curious person. I think that's probably why a lot of the interviews I do flow quite well. It's because I enjoy asking people questions, because when I was younger, my mum and my dad told me you should never stop asking questions. So I guess I've taken that to heart. And now that I'm 30, I still love asking questions, and I'm still just a generally curious person. So maybe that's why this podcast works out right for me. I don't know. Anyway, let's get down to business, shall we? On this episode, I have Kyle from We Came From Wolves. Now, I was thinking about interviewing Kyle for a little while, but I never really got around to asking him. And one day he got in contact with me and asked if we could do an interview, and I was like, yeah, totally, man. Like, let's do that, because I like the band, and over the years I've kind of followed them and I like their sound. So it was really great to actually sit down and have a chat with a guy, because, you know, a lot of the time I don't really like it when people approach me and ask if they can do an interview, because I only really talk to people that whose music I actually like. And sometimes people come and ask me if we can do an interview, and usually I would do it, but it's difficult sometimes to find the time to listen to their music. I will get around to it one day. But I like, one of the reasons that this podcast works so well, I think, is because I talk to people whose music I have a knowledge of. And Kyle, We Came From Wolves, are a band I do have knowledge of, so I was really happy to sit down and have a chat with them. So after wandering about Glasgow for a little bit, we found a pub which was reasonably quiet, didn't have music that was on quite loud in the background, sat down and had a chat, and the chat went in all different directions, and it's quite a long conversation, but it's also, I think, a really good conversation. So I hope you enjoy it, because I certainly had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun talking to him, and I think we got on pretty well. So yeah, going to open up the interview now with a song. This song is called Butterflies, and I hope you enjoy it.
Butterflies will block out the sun tonight. I'm a dreaming as days go by without as much as a sound. And I'm screaming, but no one will hear, even though in my head this just all sounds so clear. These feelings of love all together in the atmosphere. Can I borrow a cup of ambition for a moment here? Whoa. Sing us a song for tomorrow. We've been over this and under this, but I can't sing you a single song about love. jeopardize the common ground that we've gone. But to stand back and watch your mind fear of the poison that the powers that be preach as clear. Journalism is wrong, and it's polluting our atmosphere. Can I borrow a cup of retrospection till the motive's clear? Oh, sing us a song for tomorrow. We've been over this and onto this, but I can't sing you a single song about love. Oh, it's love, and I just can't explain these feelings and the changes they make to a boy who was ready to break. Oh, I thank the stars for healing hearts, all together in the atmosphere. Can I borrow a cup of apprehension till the truth appears? Sing us a song for tomorrow. We've been over this and onto this, but I can't sing you a single song about love. Sing us a song for tomorrow. We've been over this and onto this, but I can't sing you a single song about love.
Okay, well, we've had a pretty good chat so far, but didn't hit record, so I guess we'll start off with asking my usual question. How you doing?
I'm not bad, man. I think we've kind of covered all bases, so we'll just leave it there, will we?
Aye, that's it. It was just 12 seconds. That's it. Interview's over.
Oh, man.
So let's go back to the start. Yeah, you've heard the podcast before, yeah?
Yeah, mate.
So you know what my first question is going to be.
I'm pretty sure I do, yeah.
Where did it all start?
Where it all started for me, probably quite late, to be honest, to most kind of music kind of guys. I was one of these football guys, like would only wear Nike trainers, white obviously, and Man United and St Johnstone tops. Thought all this music malarkey was just for moshers and stuff when I was about 15, and I watched my friend's band. He dragged me along to this school assembly to watch his band Pen 15, absolute classic name obviously as well. And they were like a pop punk band, and I watched that and I just saw the kind of crowd reaction and the energy they were given and the melodies, and I just thought, oh, that's actually unreal. And to be honest, that definitely like turned everything around for me. And from there I just asked him, you know, hounded him for guitar lessons and stuff like that. I know no theory to this day, I just play with my finger shapes and memorise it. But from there I just realised that's what I wanted to do, write songs and sing songs.
That's a really interesting genesis, man. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, I heard this band when I was this young, or my family's always been musical, but from being a sports guy to suddenly being, holy shit, I want to do that.
Yeah, man. I mean, when I think back and kind of analyse it a wee bit, I think I've always loved melody. Like, I've always like been into hooky music, but no matter what kind of genre it is, and thinking back in my childhood, I can definitely like pick out songs like Army Dreamer by Kate Bush. I can remember that when I'm like a wee boy. Love Cats by the Cure, just stuff like that really sticking in my head. Sultans of Swing, stuff like that. But I didn't come from a musical family, and these kind of like very few songs have definitely stuck in my head from like radio or car drives or something like that. You know, tape decks from your auntie driving somewhere, the beach or something. But yeah, man, like it definitely wasn't ever in me to really think I wanted to write music. But as soon as I did, it just became kind of obsessively all I was wanting to do.
So can you remember the feeling you had when you first wrote a song and you're like, holy shit, I just did that?
Yeah, definitely, man. Being that age, kind of 16, 17, I've been going out with a girl for like 6 months and thought that was kind of like everything, you know what I mean? And then exactly, man, like it seems like, you know, it's a 5-year relationship when you're that age. So I went and saw this my mate's band play, still going out with this girl, thought I'd love to write songs and stuff like that, but you're trying to like write about stuff and you don't know anything because you've just had a great life because you're 16. Do you know what I mean? Like, where's the inspiration coming from? And then the old heartbreak pulls out, you know, comes out the bag. And then I listened to like Finch Letters to You, and that was me. Boom. You know, I was like, all right, yeah, this is how you write a song. So I'm like rinsing that kind of like pain for my, you know, the catharsis of writing. And yeah, I wrote a song and music for her, sent it to her. You know, who knows what that did, but yeah, that was the start of it, mate.
I was playing a show last night with Matt, and during in between bands, I started playing "What Is to Burn" by Finch.
Oh, brilliant!
And like that for me, that's really weird, man. Because like you said to me before we started, you're 29, I'm 30, so it's one of those things. Like I was not a huge Finch fan, but "What Is to Burn," like for some reason, just has like a special resonance when I was like 17 as well. It's bizarre, man.
It's absolutely so good. And the thing that's really cool about Finch, actually, I wouldn't even rank them as like one of my favourite bands, but it's quite cool we're talking about them because I guess it's one of these ones that I always talk about how like music from when you're young, like you hear it and it just takes you right back. But I remember loving Finch, loving that album, and then Say Hello to Sunshine came out, the more kind of like heavy, you know, like disjointed kind of version of them, and I remember like hating it because it wasn't the Finch I knew. But then about 5 years later, thinking it was like one of the best albums I've ever heard. And I just think that's important for obviously how your musical taste can change or what you appreciate in music and things like that. But yeah, man, I used to have like in high school, I used to have that Timberwolves at New Jersey song by Taking Back Sunday. And to this day, if I hear it, man, like I'm transported to like, shit, it's 5 to 9, I'm late for school, you know what I mean? Like, it's amazing, like, I love that.
Can you still remember that first song you wrote?
Yeah, I can, yeah. The music teacher, she actually like loved it so much, and this was like the first tune I wrote. It isn't like honking horns or that. I guess she maybe just hadn't had anyone in the class that really liked the kind of styles that I'd maybe started listening to. But the music teacher was like really like wanting to do harmonies on it, and I remember being a bit like, nah, I think I'll just do it myself. She's like, no, I think it would really be good if I did some female harmonies on it. So she's like peer pressuring me to do it. But yeah, we did it, man. We recorded it to tape with an acoustic guitar I begged my mum for Christmas, and then I remember like playing my mum the tape in the car, and she was like obviously super proud in that, thinking that's probably all he's ever going to do with music. But yeah, man, I wanted to call it Your Song, but then my mate said kind of Elton John's, he's got a bit of that on there, so I don't know what it was called, like First Song Stroke 1 or something.
It's interesting that you mentioned like your mum thought that you might grow out of it, because my mum still hopes that one day I'll grow out of listening to heavy music.
Yeah, man, yeah. Now, my mum, to be totally fair, man, my mum's been super, super supportive, but she absolutely loves, man, everything we do, like so much. Like we'll put on like a post, you know, and put it out to people who like us kind of like all over the place and stuff, and then you'll get like Mary and Burgess like, oh, you're doing so great, boys, kiss, and you'll be like, right, back down to earth. But that's class, you know. When we played at the Samas, and like really gracious, like thankfully like picked up the award, was really thankful for that, for the best rock. She wasn't meant to be coming, you know, and like there was people in the crowd that we knew and a lot we didn't. It was a packed house at the garage. We picked up the award, and then like she's down the front like shouting and that, and I was like, oh my god, like she's come all the way from Perth, you know. But aye, man, that's what it's about. That's cool that she's into it.
Was that the same year that Bare Arms won?
No, this was just last year, man. Last year. Yeah, I think Bare Arms won 2 years ago, was it? Aye, but no, Sweet That They won. They're great guys as well, man.
That's just interesting. Like the whole Samus thing is, I guess it's one of those things that I'd never really paid much attention to before. Like, but you have won an award. That must be pretty cool.
Yeah, man. I mean, we're the same. Like, I know Richie really well, and I think it's class what he's done. And when we first moved to Glasgow, we played their showcase, but we had nothing to do with awards and that. And he really does give a good kind of platform for bands who are kind of wanting to do a wee bit, you know, further than just play and not really have much ambition about it, which is also really fine if that's what people, you know, are aspiring to. But we really did want to drive on, and we thought that's pretty cool, but music's not a competition, so whether you're awarded anything or nominated for anything really doesn't matter. Fuck, like as long as people are into your music, like people tell me like, you know, they love the lyrics, or the song means this to them or that to them, or I listen to the song and still get the feels on them, then that's the most important thing. But to be nominated was pretty cool, and we were up against some great bands. To say my favourite out of them would probably be Catholic Action, and as I said before when we were chatting, I know Ryan, the drummer, pretty well from Fives. A wee bit of five-a-side, he's a deadly striker, but no match for me, Ryan. But no, they were up for it. And that's the kind of annoying thing, because obviously at the end of the day it's a votes thing, so, you know, we won it, and that's not going to ever say that, you know, who's a better band or anything like that, but we are really thankful to win it, because it meant the people who were into us, you know, took the time to make that heard. So that's all it means, that's all it meant to us. But it was nice to take that and say thank you to the people who had supported us. That's all it meant. It doesn't mean we say, oh sweet, we've done it, like, not at all. You know, we crack on even more. But it came at the end of a year where we played some major festivals, played T-Break and Wicker Man, and we played in Bratislava and France and Germany. We put out our debut album, and then we got that award. So it was a nice end to a year, you know, right at the end, and there was a lot of free Heineken, and that was probably the best thing about it, Mark.
I was listening to the album earlier on. It was really interesting. You said at the start that you were kind of picking up melody, because one of the questions I have is, how do you go about finding melody?
Well, truth be told, like, and I know this sounds like a really wanky answer, and I wish you didn't have to say it, but I only would tell the truth. But I don't really sit down ever to write songs, and I don't, because I can't read music, and because of, I mean, I couldn't tell you an A chord or a G chord. I do not have a clue. Like, I just move my fingers, and so I wish I did, because it takes a long time to write a song, but I just play about. But what I do when I'm writing a song is my voice memos on my iPhone are just like stacked. I just would be walking to work, or wake up in the morning, or go for a bath or whatever, and I'll just like get a melody, and then I'll just record that, and then I'll put kind of chords around that. So I don't really know how to do it, man. It is just one of these things, a bit of a brain fart, and sure there are tons that are not good at all, but I kind of just roll with the ones that I think sound pretty good. So I don't have a process at all, really.
Well, that's still kind of implicitly learning, or sort of practicing the craft on a daily basis, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I guess, man. I mean, I definitely do kind of like record everything that comes in my head, unless it's like proper shit. But I wish, I really, really, really do think that these guys that all go to a practice room together and they go, right, we'll write this song, and I've got this wee bit and stuff like that. And I've been in bands with guys who are fantastic songwriters, the old lineup where we came from, Wolves, the original one was Greg Eriksson on guitar and John Harkis on drums, and they'd played in bands like Dirtbox and PMX, who had done great things over the Scottish scene and in Europe and Canada and Spain and things like that. Spain's in Europe, by the way, guys. And more recently as well was in a Taylor and Harrison White, who've actually just left the band. More on that later, but they're great writers as well. But never did I take advantage of or say, let's sit down and write something. It's just not something I feel I can do. I feel like my head's swimming with these ideas. I've got the melodies down, and when it's time to write, I then just lock myself away and I draw on these kind of memos and then just build a song around that. I just don't feel comfortable letting other people in until I've kind of got something finished.
So I mean, between the now 2 lineup changes and having a head that's always got full of ideas, like, is that why, like, there's been quite, it feels like to me it's been quite a long process. It was quite a long process walking up to the album. Is that fair? Yeah,
definitely, man. And yeah, you're probably right. If, I guess, normal people, I don't know, because, you know, what is normal, but I guess,
normal way to do this.
Aye, but I guess like going in a practice room and going, right lads, we're all bros here, you know, I've got this riff, what have you got, let's write it. You could probably write a tune, you know, in a session. I remember we've written one song in the history of this band, spanning 2010, one song together. It was Paradise Place, which was a title track for the EP before the album. It was, I think, 2013 or 14, and that was when we had a new lineup change with the Taylor and Harrison White, who joined at that time. They came with an idea, I had some different ideas, we kind of merged it together. Anytime from that, it's either been their ideas and then I'll do all melodies, or like I'll write the whole song and then bring it to them, to everybody. And I guess that's probably why it is a long process, because, for example, the guys right now will be like, what are you working on? And I've genuinely got about 30 songs, not finished at all, but purposefully not finished because I don't have the time to sit, and I would make other things drawn out. So I'll just leave them till it's time to record, and then we'll do it. So yeah, we're probably just doing the meat and bones of being in a band rather than writing as we go, which will obviously make it a lot longer a process, but I don't feel that that's stunted anything. Yeah, sure, it'd be great to be releasing songs, prolifically, and that's some of the guys I mentioned. John Harkis, for example, he regularly writes 2-3 songs a month and posts them up, and they're all great. For me, I need to have a real feeling about it. Everyone goes into it. I can't just have throwaway. Not that I'm saying people do that, but for me, I would need to really invest a lot into a song before I would let it go.
That reminds me of Chuck Reagan's approach. Chuck Reagan for Hot Water Music, his approach is always in a solo albums anyway, it's I'll write every single song like it's going to be the best song that I can do. I won't half-arse it,
Big time, man. That's exactly the approach I would take, and I'm sure people who maybe aren't a fan of what we do would say, oh well, you're not doing a very good job or whatever. That's totally cool, man. I'm just doing the best I can to what I feel and what I love, or what it means to me, or what I'm trying to say, or what I'm trying to convey. But yeah, definitely, I'll maybe have a few ideas and I'll think, right, fuck, is it better that they all go in the one song? Whereas I could say, right, cool, I'll just put a standard pre-chorus verse and I'll make 5 songs there. I'm constantly thinking, and I drive myself a bit insane as well, because I'll be thinking, right, so the pre-chorus could do this, it could also do that, it could also do that, and I need to get that out of my head, because of course it could do that, it could do whatever the hell you want, but I'm always trying to think, but what is the best thing it could do? So yeah, I guess there's a bit of that, but I wouldn't say that's a good thing, to be honest, because I could probably write a lot more quicker if I was just more decisive.
So when songs are finished, they're finished, they don't feel abandoned to you?
So in what way do you mean, sorry?
Whenever I write songs, I always feel as though they always feel they never feel finished, even when they are musically, lyrically complete. I always feel like I could do better, but I want to move on. So it's kind of abandoned. But I'm usually happy with what I've got, but it still doesn't ever feel quite complete to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I mean, certainly, little bits will change. Maybe the way I play a chord, or you're ringing it out, you're getting a bit of guitar noise rather than making it clinical, all chords together, or an ending of a song or something like that. But structure, melody, and lyrics, I proper drum it out so that I'm 100% with everything. So yeah, when it's finished for me, it's kind of finished. Other than mixing it up live a wee bit to just make it interesting. The way we did the album was loads and loads of ideas going back and forward. We then kind of kept doing it over that year, that busy year that I talked about a wee bit before. We then booked out a log cabin at Loch Fyne, where a few bands have done that. Poor Things, La Fontaine's are up there just now. Just genuinely had kind of 20-hour days with 4 hours sleep, a wee break for some pasta and stuff, and just literally got all the songs together, and we've still got those recordings, so it's the moment that song's finished, we've got it recorded demo wise with just one mic in the middle of the room. So we did all that, and then we'd go in the studio and we'd get it all done, and I'd have rough melodies that I'd been working on from the time of the log cabin to the studio, and also from the start, because the melodies what inspired making the song, but I didn't have any final lyrics locked in until the day before I would start vocals. So I would ask for a day off in the studio, I'd go down to 13th Note, and I did this with the EP, the Paradise Place EP as well, and I'd ask for a bounce from Bruce Rintoul, our producer, and I would sit in the 13th Note and I'd do a bit of people watching with my laptop and listen to the songs, and I'd know the rough melody and the rough kind of lyrics I'd want, but I would just lock everything in 7 hours in the pub, which is obviously a nice excuse for a few beers as well. But yeah, I would just lock it in right there and then, and just scrutinise it and think, is this what I want? Is this read well? Does it sound well? Sing it to myself, kind of thing. And then the next day just record it. So I leave it. I kind of give myself as much possible time as as I can, and then it's locked in. And by then, fucking tough if it's no good,
That's interesting. That's fascinating to me to hear about that, because my own lyrical process and stuff is much different in every way. But I love hearing that, because
how do you do it?
Do you really want to know?
Of course, no, of course.
Man, I don't like talking about myself too much in this podcast. Basically, I'm a writer. Like that is what I do. It's what I've always done. Yeah. And the music for me, once it's complete, I will remember it because I play guitar as well. We'll usually write songs, and False Hopes will usually write songs mostly together. Sometimes we'll all come out with ideas, but then these songs will then be changed considerably, usually with a few exceptions, one of which the song we just brought out actually is probably one of the exceptions. Is like it was written by a bass player completely. The way it is the way it is. But the lyrics for me, like once I'm just got a spurt of like fucking like some idea lyrically, and I'll usually just write it in one go, and that'll be it.
I think that's ace, and I think there's a lot to be said. Listen, there's never going to be a right or wrong way, and fans of, I doubt anyone's going to like be a fan of our band, hate your band, fan of your band, hate ours. There'd be no reason for that. I'm sure there'd be somebody. But for example, people who think the way you write is brilliant will cite that as the reason why. People who maybe think my stuff's good will cite the reason that, like there's no right or wrongs, and I really respect that, because I will get, like when I do my voice memos, sometimes I'll just like say lyrics at my head so I can record it down my phone while I'm walking down Sauchiehall Street at like fucking 11 at night, and sometimes it'll make sense. I'll go, that's quite cool, so I'll maybe kind of draw from that later on, but it's definitely put in a drawer for me. Sometimes it's just shite so I can get the melody across, the words don't matter. But obviously for yourself, that's the initial burst of inspiration, so you think, well, something's put that in my head, so I may as well follow that up. Yeah, man, I think that's really fascinating as well, and it's just different ways people do it, It's
one of the reasons why this podcast exists, because it's about exploring creativity, and I just love hearing that people do stuff, because I'm interested in people's creative process, man, and like hearing you doing that is something I wish I could do. I wish I could sit down and interrogate a song for weeks. Like I wish I could do that, but I'm so fucking impatient I can't.
Drives you crazy, man. Like I genuinely, when doing the album, like had to, and to be honest, she was an absolute diamond about it, but I had to tell my girlfriend, her sister and our sister's husband, and she's got niece and nephews, so it wasn't like I was sending her away to fucking some jail or that, but I had to say to my girlfriend Nick a few times, like, can you like please go away like for like a long weekend or something, and a few times, because I was like, I need to concentrate, and like I'm not good at like channeling out. If she's popping in and going, oh, have you seen this that so and so said, or oh, what do you want to do at the weekend, I'm like, I can't channel in. I needed to lock the door. No, nobody's coming in for 4 days. I remember a long bank holiday weekend when I was doing the album, doing lyrics and stuff like that. Literally from the Friday to the finishing work on the Thursday night, I took the Friday off, till going to work on the Tuesday morning. Didn't leave my house, didn't do anything other. My Xbox was packed away because it had broke and I wasn't going to get it fixed because I had to write an album. It was 100% writing, apart from at the end of the night I would give myself like 2 hours to watch The Sopranos, and there was a lot of gin and tonics, there was a lot of red wine, there was a lot of beer. It was an expensive weekend, but I got a ton of, but that was the demos before the log cabin, so even that bit was like, because I'd left it so late, because I'd let it all build up, that was like so much work just to then let the guys in on what was in my head. I'm sure I must be some sort of mental, like, that can't be right, but it just is the only way I can kind of get it separated before I let people hear it.
I don't think it's like you say, there's no right or wrong way, but like Ryan Adams himself's got a tendency to write songs in bursts and then spend ages just refining them. I admire that process. It's great. There's no, like I said, like the way that you do it is the way that works for you, and it works really well. Do you know what I mean? The songs do come off as being really well honed and really well crafted, and you can see the evolution of like your process as the records progress. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I guess obviously everybody gets better at what they're doing, but yeah, it's like I'm saying, it's not a very smooth process. It takes quite a while, and as I said earlier, I've got about 30 that I'm ready to do now. I don't know if that's going to be another album or we do an EP just to keep things a bit swifter, because we plan on being really busy this year as well. But yeah, my head's kind of now at the point it's like, right, well, I'm going to need to start working on these now because there's so much built up. So whether that's going to be taking myself off to a wee cabin or something, or asking her to go down to England again, like, who knows. But yeah, like, it's just a bit of daunting prospect, but it's daunting but exciting because I always have loads of material, but it's daunting to me because I know how much of an ass I'm going to be at trying to sort it all out.
So with that in mind, like, and having to sort all that shit out, who are some of the songwriters that you look up to? We mentioned it before we started chatting. Jesse Lacey's fantastic songwriter. My favourite poet, I would call him, well, let's say Morrissey and Johnny Marr were a fantastic writing combination. I love them, but I think a guy who's picked up that mantle and isn't properly accredited with it yet, but will be in the kind of time that's passed from the Smiths to now, to from this band to now, is Alex Turner. I think he is otherworldly, you know, his grasp of the English language and his imagery that he can kind of convey through pop songs, really. I mean, it's indie, you know, there's a wee bit R&B in their last stuff, you know, old school R&B, but their pop songs are catchy, melodic. Some of his songs are just heartbreaking, and that's what I love, man. Like, honestly, like, if I could, you know, I love old school pop punk songs. I love songs that maybe make me think of happy times. Obviously I do. Everybody likes to be happy. But if I've got a night to myself and I'm putting on a playlist or something, then I'm putting on this playlist I've got called Feels, and that's just, it's songs that fucking break your heart, man. Like, I love to feel that, like, and he manages to just do that so much. But yeah, Jesse Lacey, I'd say Mar Morrissey together, Alex Turner, obviously the big man from Ayrshire, Simon Neil, fantastic songwriter, and I know he's really influenced by the Red House Painters, so I've been listening to a bit of them as well. But I think for me, in my kind of life would probably be Brand New or Arctic Monkeys, as like crafting a song no matter what the genre, and no one can listen to that and think that's not fantastic, you know.
I can hear the water whisper beat, the quiet of the surf against the shore, trying to keep your head above these waves. It's barely begging for my oar. All this has to stop right now. I've forgotten where my head lay. You've been keeping secrets from me. All this has to stop right now. I hear those mockingbirds are singing, attracted to the fruits that you have grown. Branches, which one day will be mine, just to burn you from the very seeds you sown. Fingers clicking, resemble clocks from ticking, and reminding me that time is right to go. Because I've seen this all before, so I beg you and implore that you don't stick to any levels or below. There's no rhyme, reason for this crime, so hold back the primal instinct to follow. I know there's only safety in the path till the farmer comes right back and loads his rifle on your tie with all the crows. Oh, all this has to stop right now. I've forgotten where my head lay. You've been keeping secrets from me. All this has to stop right now. Now it's time to face the ocean, to meet the tide before she goes. So still I have to ask the question on my mind, so I know There's a hole in this nest. There's a knife in my chest. Forgot just where your head lays. Though I'm sure that you'll deflect, I think it's time you just accept that you've forgotten where your head lays. 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 Now it's time to face the ocean, to meet the tide before she goes. Still I have to ask the question on my mind, so I know, will you stay or will you go?
I've spoken about this with a few people, and it seems to be the case. It's like the whole the idea of catharsis, like the ripping the band-aid off, and songs returning to feelings which are universal for everyone, but they're also, it's like, it's pain. That's what we write about, you know what I mean?
Man. Well, that's really the only thing I know how to write about. Like, that's not like bring a pure spotlight on, so let's talk about all this fucking heartbreak you've had and that. Nah, not at all. But there's very few songs let me have a very, very quick thought. Nah, like there's no songs that I've written that are because I'm pure happy about something. And maybe that's I'm missing a wee market for myself there. Maybe I should tone into that, and maybe that would create even better results, but they don't really need to come out. I would just kind of be that. I feel I'm a positive, happy guy, but anything, and it might not be huge amounts of pain or that, but little everyday pains that like some people might relate to, and some are bigger pains and stuff, like losing friends, small town kind of life, and not always only my kind of maybe unhappiness or wee bits of pain. Like I can do a lot of kind of viewing other people's and describing that, but I feel that's the easiest thing to write about. I don't know why, it just seems to like vent. You're able to kind of get that out, and whether that's because you've got to sing the words and you've got to feel it. Like I can't go on stage and just sing it like it's karaoke. And that's also not saying I'm going to like cut myself open when I stay on stage like Trent Reznor or whatever, you know, like, but it's definitely need to feel what I'm singing. I need to give it all. I need to like break my throat. I need people to believe that I believe what I'm singing, you know. And that has become, it was always my dream music wise. A few years after, I just wanted to be in a band because it looked cool, but it was always my dream to have people, you know, have their own, what we spoke about, listening to a song and being transported back, and to have me maybe write a song that 10 years from now someone will listen back to going, oh man, I listened to that song and it related to me about this, and oh, I feel that again and stuff. And people have told me that, and that to me, that's like mission accomplished. Like, we could do loads of cool things, but the fact that that will be with somebody for their life means that for at least that one person or two people's or whatever, their whole life, like something I've written will be with them. So that kind of makes it live forever to some people, and I think that's pretty magical, you know.
So is it, it just makes me think then, maybe it's what a lot of musicians do, is like we're seeking for connection with something, and I guess not necessarily someone, but some feeling that we've had, you know.
Yeah, man, 100%. Yeah. I think I'm a sociable guy, but I probably don't let anybody kind of like in. So that way, you know, you just seem like, he's just a real happy guy. So if you can write stuff like that and people relate to it, there's kind of that like, so you kind of got what I was getting at. Yeah, and you feel that too, so that's great. I'm not happy you feel that too, but it's nice, you know. So yeah, you're probably spot on with that.
One of the things I was thinking about, I was listening to the album today, and it's, I want to talk about Am I Useful a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it does seem to me that it's kind of all about like the cognitive dissonance of doing what you love compared to having to fucking pay the bills.
100%, man. Yeah, it's that kind of, and this definitely wasn't like something anybody said to me, but it was a kind of feeling that, like, right, you'll need to maybe chuck this in a wee bit if it doesn't work. And what is the point where it's working or it's not? Who the fuck can tell you that? Like, I know for a fact when I was younger, I saw making it, and I'm doing those little fucking rabbit ear things, as like, you're just a full-time band. So we supported, when I was in a younger band, Friday First, we supported bands like Useless ID and Zebrahead and stuff from like Kung Fu Records. Really cool bands. We were meant to get Rufio support and oh my god, what's that band's name? Slick Shoes support, and then both those bands split up and stuff like that. And my idea of making it was, these guys are just touring all the time. But then, knowing what I know now, I know that these guys were broke as fuck. They were in a transit van, they'd come from fucking America. Do you know what I mean? Like, they were fucked. But when you have people like you've made promises to, you've depended on stuff, you've got to balance it with paying some bills and doing this kind of shit. So at the point we're at now, we could literally be what my younger self would have thought making it. We could go on the road all the time right now, and that would be fantastic. But it's a tough place now, and what would you have to show for when you come back? So you kind of have to balance it in terms of a bit of insurance to actually have a life and do what you love as well. But that then brings exactly what we're talking about, those thoughts of, right, well, how long can I keep doing it? And then that was my thought process there. It's like, well, I could stop and have this like life, you know. I could take my girlfriend out for more meals. We could have a house rather than rent. I could be seen as, oh yeah, you know, he's got money, he does this and that, because I'm not putting everything into this thing that some people think's crazy. But like, I've thrown everything into this. What the fuck would I be then? Like, would I be useful to myself? Like, nah, because I didn't go to uni because I wanted to like tour and jump in at that time a car and stuff like that, and I didn't go on like, unfortunately, like pals holidays and stuff like that. And you know, I'm totally happy with the girl I'm with now. We've been with each other like 7 years, but there were relationships that I just sacked off because they wanted this, you know, more architectural, whatever the word is, guy who would take them out for meals and drive them places and that. I was like, well, that's a waste of my money and time because I'm in this band, you know, and this is what everything else. So there's all that kind of shit, you know, that it's just my passion. So what would I have? I've kind of thrown my eggs in a basket, and that's not me thinking like, so it's definitely going to work, so everything will be cool. Like, no, that's me thinking about like, well, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen because it's tough as fuck. But all I do know is if I stop the band to try and be what society thinks you should be at like a 30-something, then I'm not going to be happy. So that could be the worst thing I could do because I could die tomorrow. So I'd rather be happy, you know.
Does that angst follow you around still then?
Oh yeah, man, I'm an angsty guy. But yeah, man, like I work hard at the job I'm at, and I'm responsible to the people who depend on me and things like that. But I have never ever hidden from anybody, employers, you know, love, family, that this is what I want to do. And if there's something that comes up that means I can achieve that, then I'll do that. When I was a teenager, I was in a band with like my best friends, and we were starting to get okay stuff, and I got offered to join another band from Dundee who had got offered one of those deals on the Warped Tour where you have to, I mean, at this age it sounds absolutely horrific, where you have to go there and you have to like sell your CDs after every show, and you're opening up for the bands at like 9 in the morning. But it's the Warped Tour, it's in America, but if you can make enough money you can stay on it. And I got offered to do that and do European tours and that, and I went to tell my best friends, I was like, I'm going to join this other band. And they said, like, one of the guys like started crying, and like, not in a pathetic way either. It was like, no man, we've been doing this 4 years. Like, I thought we want to tour and we want to do all this. And I said, okay, I won't do it. And then 2 years, 3 years later, that band fucked. You know, it went nowhere. This came out of it, which I feel's done really well. But that was my lesson. But like, if an opportunity comes, like, I have to take it, because I felt negativity towards them because they had kind of influenced my decision when I told them clearly, and I let that happen, so it's not their fault. But that was always a lesson to myself, and I've never been dishonest to anybody, that if an opportunity comes up where I can make myself happy doing what I want, then that's what I'll be doing.
So is that a drive for success, or like what is it that powers that then?
Yeah, man, that's a good question, because it's certainly not like watching myself back on camera in a video, or you know, seeing live performances or even playing live. To be honest, man, playing live isn't even that big of a driver for it. It's not my biggest thing. It's the creating things and having it ever. Like studio is my favourite thing in a band. A lot of people say live, like not for me. So I don't think it's like success in terms of, oh, you're famous and that. Like I know some people just call bullshit on that, but it's true. Like it's not about being like a famous guy, but it definitely is about like having this thing that I'm passionate about and trying to be able to just live my life doing something that I love would be fantastic. That's the driver for me. And to be honest, if I'm being totally honest, and it might sound dickish, but all you can be is honest in this world, a lot of maybe things that people and things and situations that have inspired a lot of the vocals and lyrics and things like that, maybe showing them, you know, a bit of a driver is kind of like, well, you know, I was justified, or, you know, I'll show you kind of thing, which seems a bit immature, man, but they're primal feelings, aren't they? You know, a bit of revenge. Like, the best way to have revenge against people is living well, and if you can live what you do, you know.
That's very true, actually. I never really thought of it like that. I'm wondering then, are you finding it difficult to maintain that work, that band and life balance?
No, because I've had a lot of practice for a long time, and my work, to be honest, my girlfriend always says, oh, you're so lucky with your job because they'll just let you go. If you've got a gig, you let you go that. But I've been lucky in my work for like the past like 5 jobs, so like I must be doing something right when I go there, to be quite upfront with them that I'll burst my arse and do my job well while I'm there. But you know, I'll need to go if there's a gig or stuff like that, and make up time and stuff like that. So it's probably a mixture of I'm setting out and being honest and doing well when I'm there, but also you know, having understanding people in the positions. So, and of course, like my girlfriend will, you know, want to spend more time and do stuff that like normal lasses will do, so go out and do this and do that. But she knows me well enough that you know, that's what I love, and I'm just going to be grumpy and looking at my phone and replying to emails if I'm you know, not doing that. So nah, it's usually quite cool.
So you talked about it quite, but we touched on it briefly. As we came from Will to Success, you're right.
I don't know. I don't think you could ever, and that's not like false modesty. If you're asking me, am I happy with what we've done? Definitely. From where we're from the people that I meet, like it's done really well, and I'm really happy with what we have done. But I don't know where's the line for success. Like back in the day, there's a lyric in one of my songs, like, would the 17-year-old be, you know, 2005, step back in time circa 2005, ask this question to my teenager soul, and it's like asking, like, would you be happy with your lot now? Definitely. You know, we've played with some amazing bands, we've toured, we've put out videos, we've put an album out through an indie label, so not paid for it ourselves, for the pleasure. Won an award, if that's important to you. Played some major festivals, our album's out in America, played in Europe. So obviously all those things are fucking sweet to me, even now, but even more so if I was young. But there's so many other people who are doing even better, and I don't grudge them. I think fucking great. So, you know, like I think it's such a hard question. Like, are you happy where you are? No. And if you are, you should probably just can it. But are you disappointed with where you are? No. But I don't know where the line of success is. I think it's really tough. There's some bands that I know who are doing fucking brilliant shit, and they probably still wouldn't class themselves as a success. You know, like it's a struggle. Like, it's not an easy industry for any of us bands, like your band, my band, any band these days. I went and studied music business just as all the digital shit was really kind of like dwindling, all the music sales, and it's interesting, it's heartbreaking, it's scary, you know, like, it's like, what the fuck, what is the music industry these days? No one's really got a clue. Like, it's a bit fucked. So will you make money? Probably not. But does that mean you should stop? Oh, who says that music should be there so you make money? You know, it's a real tough question these days. But in terms of success, as in, can you stop and be happy? Nah, if I stopped and was working right now and no music, then I'd be fucking raging. Like, I wouldn't have anything to do, man.
Given that, given your answer, I guess, What path does a band take now, especially in the shifting sort of music landscape?
So I kind of spoke to you as well about this before the sound recorder was rolling, but for us it would be getting on an agency or something that can kind of fund us to tour. Now when I say fund, I don't mean cash cow or making loads of money, but right now I essentially live my life as 2 full-time jobs. And I know some people will be thinking, aye, that's great, and that sounds like a whole heap of pish, but I'll work my 7-hour shift and I'll go home and I'm doing emails, promo, writing, I'm rehearsing, I run after work to keep myself fit, but I'm only doing that so that I'm fit for shows and I'm in a positive mind frame for all this stuff. We rehearse 6 hours on Saturday. We use all our holidays for the year through work for tours and stuff like that. So I really do see it as I've got kind of 2 jobs. One pays me and one doesn't. But for me, if I could have enough to pay the bills, so it's not enough to like, I don't seek or need enough to like try and make me wealthy, but if I could do what I'm doing tour wise and have enough to send back to cover the commitments I've got, then that would be the way to go forward. So for us, we'll keep doing what we're doing. We'll try and get in an agency to get those shows, because we're at a very lucky stage where we cover everything we do through the band. We've never, when we started, we came from Wolves. That was literally one of the goals. It was like we've all been in bands where we've paid to play or we've gone to a show and it's like exposure, and it won't happen in this band. And it's not because we're greedy, it's not because we think we're above it, but we were all a wee bit longer in the tooth. So, and that's not to have a go at anybody who still will do it. That's fine. There's different ethoses, and we took a lot of shit from the hardcore community and the DIY community back in Perth, small town mentality, over that. And I hope they see it's justified now, because we've done well for ourselves from where we're from. But yeah, if we could just cover our lives from doing the band, then that would be the next step for us.
That's actually quite a good positive note to end on, I guess. Is there anything else you want to say, anything you want to ask me before I wrap this thing up?
I've asked you a few things about your band, man, but what's your band's plans? Because I want to hear your music as well. Like, you told me a bit about your band, False Hopes, but yeah, man, this is a 2-way conversation. Like, what's your aspirations?
I try not to think about it too much. Like, I just want to play shows to everyone everywhere, and I was talking to somebody about this earlier on today, actually, and I'll probably return to this in a podcast with that person at some point. But I think a lot of bands, they don't see the line between like ambition, success, and having people like your music. From doing this podcast, I've learned that I'd much rather have a small amount of people that really fucking love what I do than a large amount of people that listen to it once, like it, but don't really give a fuck. That's the way that I look at it. And I know, look at I Wonder No Illusions, the kind of music we play, it's not particularly melodic. It's not gonna fucking like destroy the world. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not gonna be like we're not gonna be Biffy Clyro. Do you know what I mean? We know that, but like you said about the way the industry's changing, like we've decided, or I suggested to the band, because of what I do for my day job, I suggested to my band, instead of recording an album, because we wrote an album, I was like, why don't we just release a song a month for the whole 2016? Because we're a new band, nobody knows who we are, and content means everything in a digital world just now. So release one song a month for free for 12 months for the whole 2016 and see what happens.
It's a great idea.
It's an okay idea, I think. It means we're recording batches, but it's still a black hole of cash. It's free. We're not really making any cash, you know what I mean? But I'm interested to see how what happens, because we've got no plans to take on a manager, take on a booking agent, or pay for PR at any time in the future. But we are very aware of the fact that these things will have to happen if we want to continue doing it further down the line. But I'm interested to try this experiment out and see what happens, because you never know, man.
I'll be certainly keeping up to date with that, because I had similar thoughts before of not the whole one a month thing, but instead of an EP, just releasing like a new single here and there, a new single until you're ready for another album. But I think you might be onto a winner there, because people love a new track, and you'll see from SoundCloud plays that give you the number right beside it, the top track to the bottom is usually, unless there's a single been out that's near the bottom, it just goes, people listen less to 2 and third song and fourth song, and then they get a bit bored because how people are programmed now. It's like 30 seconds, like if you're not liking it, skip, because you've got a news feed that refreshes. So a new song every month will I think it'll do you a lot of good, man.
Maybe, I don't know, like it remains to be seen, but
then you release it as an album and people should know all the songs.
Well, that's totally it. Like, our idea is like if enough people liked it up till December, we'll probably get a good, like, we'll probably get a good handle on what it's going to be like probably come September, October. If enough people are liking it by that point, we might go for the PR route and we might decide to do an album and release it. But if that doesn't happen, we're going to record songs anyway. We're going to release songs anyway. Not really losing much, you know what I mean?
Exactly, man. And that kind of sweeping statement you made about would rather have like a core amount of people love us than a massive amount of people just like us one day and then blows in the wind the next day. That's a band that's been a massive influence to me. Reuben, that was their whole ethos. And unfortunately, it was probably, well, I wouldn't say it was their downfall because they can't control that, but it's what didn't help them stay a band. But they were kind of I used to work in Virgin Music when they were kicking about, and I was in love with Race Car Backwards, their debut album. I was actually in contact with their drummer Guy at the time and find out where they recorded it, and he wrote right back and stuff like that. But every music journalist in Kerrang, Rock Sound, Kerrang and Rock Sound, Big Cheese as well. But they were like
not a thing anymore.
Aye, exactly. But they were like saying, like Reuben is the best band in the world, but Reuben won't, those bunny ears again, make it because like they're not massive. But they're fucking, what they do is unbelievable and it's so important to so many people, but it just never hit the mainstream, even though it's really accessible as well. It's poppy as hell, but it's heavy as hell. And I know they were inspired from bands like 100 Reasons and Biffy Clyro and stuff like that, early Biffy Clyro and stuff, but they really could have just took it on the mantle and really, could have made it, but they just didn't. However, from the nod you gave me when I mentioned their name, and from me and from people that I know bands like Prestamico, absolutely love them, and PMX, absolutely love them. Bands that are really important to other people, I absolutely love them. I know loads of people do. Like the other bands that I was talking about that will be immortal, people put that on that album forever in our generation and go, what a fucking rock band. Listen to his clean vocals, listen to his scream, listen to his chords, listen to that guitar production, blah 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 blah. What did they do? Well, they opened up Download Festival to about 20 people at like 10 in the morning, and they played some sold out shows back down where they are. But were they a success? Of course, because they're fucking legends. That's that success thing, like you said again, man, to close off. Like, you can't, like, what is success? It's pure, like, comes in different forms, doesn't it? They'll live on forever, so to me they're successful.
They were in that awkward period when 100 Reasons and Hell is for Heroes and that get signed to major labels, and then they came afterwards when they dropped off major labels, and Biffy weren't big yet. So they were kind of in that space where like it was just like a dead zone for like any kind of alternative music, unless you were a metalcore band or even a new metal band at the time. It's scary to think that they'd probably be much, much bigger.
Aye, they've even got that lyric, Hell is for Heroes, have got another single out, and I can envisage another smash, no doubt. And then, like you said, it actually went fucking terrible. But that's them being openly jealous about their friends, but in a good way, like saying, they've got fucking another one out, funded by their label, absolutely brilliant, it'll be a fucking smash. We're sitting here picking our arses, you know what I mean? But like their documentaries, I would urge anybody who's not watched them on YouTube, they're all filmed just like we would do, like from someone in the band. And it's like Jamie Lenman, like going and working in the chippy and speaking to his boss, and he's like, oh, Jamie's a great guy, and then like they're going to like, he's having a banter with the customers, and then he's like driving up to Newcastle and playing like a great show, and then coming back down and they're selling all their shit and they're having to like downgrade and stuff like that so they can keep doing it, but the music they're creating is absolutely brilliant, so they don't want to give up, and in the end he's brought out obviously solo stuff whilst being an illustrator at one of, I think it's the Herald or a paper or something like that, but obviously he would love to just be doing Reuben, but it killed them, like them putting so much into it, them knowing, because they obviously know they were fucking great albums, the response they got from the few, but it just wasn't taking them forward, and that must just be soul destroying. But that's the bitch that we all play to, it's a tough place.
Do you worry about that?
Huh?
Do you worry about that?
Having to quit it. Well, I guess that song, Am I Useful? Am I Useful was put out, like, it's definitely not my favourite song on the album, and we had other ones that I thought were better than it, because it is very, very... We've got straight up rock pop songs, we've also got a lot deeper, more intricate songs. That one is a proper, like, you know, rock pop, but to me, even when we do a poppy song, on the surface it could sound poppy, but the lyrics to me are always deep personally. If other people don't get that, that's cool. But yeah, that's why we put that one on the album, because the message was important. Of course you worry about it. You worry that all this is like actually in vain and no one will even really listen to it or connect with it. Yeah, of course. But like I said before, I've been lucky enough that there are a few who tell me, and I meet them when we play gigs and they message us and stuff, that it does mean a lot to them for different reasons, different songs. So to me, that those worries are a wee bit alleviated, because those people will be into that, you know, forever. But my job and my goal is to try and get more people into that, you know, and if they're not, that's total cool. But if I can get more people into it, then there's your success for me. That's my barometer, I guess.
That's an excellent note to end on, Kyle. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
You too, man. Thanks very much for your time.
You know, Kyle's a really good guy, and sitting down and talking to him, I can see a lot of similarities in the way that we approach music. And we came from Wolves to kind of grown into being quite a reasonably well-respected, well-known thing in Glasgow over the past few years. Not even just in Glasgow, in Scotland. I mean, they are from Perth, after all. And to have a chance to sit down and talk to someone in depth about their creative process is for me the whole reason this podcast exists. This is why I do it, and this is why I love doing it, and hopefully this is why you listen, because without you guys, it's, you know, it would be nothing. So yeah, thank you, Kyle, for sitting down and talking to me. Thanks for the beers as well. I mean, beer is always appreciated. I will get them a couple back the next time I see him. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to hanging out again and actually catching a We Came From Wolves show. The guys work really hard, and I just love the fact that he puts so much into his craft. That's heartening to me. It's the complete opposite from how I operate as a songwriter, but you know, it's heartening to me to see that, you know, hard work rewards itself, I guess. So I hope you enjoyed that interview. I certainly enjoyed doing that. I'm going to play you out in a minute with another song from their debut album. But before I do that, I just want to thank you for listening. I do appreciate you. I appreciate the fact that you tune in week after week and that you like the shit that I do. I mean, these podcasts and these interviews where people talk to other musicians are, you know, they're 10 a penny. The fact that you've chosen to spend time with me is mind-blowing, so thank you. So if you're listening on iTunes, please pop over to the column and just drop me a rating and review. Would super appreciate that. It's a good thing to do, and I do appreciate it a lot. When I did the first ever podcast interview where I was interviewed, that I spoke about at the start of the episode, I was saying that I know that I'm never going to be on the level of something like Scroobius Pip's Distraction Pieces or That's Not Metal podcast, but you know what? I still love where I'm at. I love that people listen, and I'm so appreciative of that, so thanks. Your ratings, your reviews, your emails, your tweets, your comments, they all mean so much to me. Send me more. I'll respond to all of them. You're all fucking brilliant. This is why I do it. So yeah, thank you. So now that that's out of the way, we're going to end this. We're going to bring it to a very nice, lovely conclusion. This is a song called Ruiner, which We Came From Wolves just released as a single, actually, and I hope you enjoy it. It's from their debut album, which is self-titled, and yeah, you can get it on iTunes, Spotify, all that kind of stuff. It's a cracking song. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, bye-bye.
Cats and doormats out, all I see as I make my way home up the road. And the stillness of the terraces feels like it's a therapy as I ponder my thoughts in the cold. Straight to form I've been drinking again, and though I feel like I'm a man in the zone, there is a faint thumping of dread for the words which have been said via the pixels beating text on my phone. They read, I've been trying to reach you without you. I've been lying here awake the whole night, and in a blank moment of panic my fingers turn to static and I hit delete instead of reply. Straw hats and sunshines are things that any girl like you deserves anymore. To be the apple in the eye of a highway journey guy who brings his time and money all to your door. And I'll admit I'm a dreamer, but I'd rather be dreaming with my head in the air than to be stuck here on the ground for decades, hanging around, wasting my time from 10 to 6 on a chair. Just a truthful apprehension on my part. You said I told a lie when I said it would be different and cross my heart. And if you look me in the eyes, you would have seen it. I was lying from the start. 'Cause I am a selfish man. And there was never an intention, just a truthful apprehension on my part.